There's something quietly painful about a father travelling thousands of miles to visit a country where his son lives and not knocking on the door. That's exactly what happened in late April 2026, when King Charles III and Queen Camilla touched down in the United States for a high-stakes 4-day state visit. Washington, New York, Virginia, a packed, diplomatically charged itinerary that took them across the East Coast and yet not once came within 1,000 miles of Montecito, California, where Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lilibet call home. And the world noticed. Now, to be fair, this wasn't a leisure trip. This wasn't Charles popping over to catch up with old friends or take in some American sunshine. This was serious business. The relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States has been under enormous strain lately, and the state visit was designed to pour some oil on very troubled waters. There was a banquet at the White House, tea with President Trump and Melania, an address to both houses of Congress, a wreath-laying at the 9/11 memorial, and a community celebration marking 250 years of American independence. Every minute, as one royal insider put it, was accounted for. But here's the thing. Harry lives there. His children, Charles's grandchildren, live there, and for a king who has spoken openly about wanting to reconcile with his youngest son, choosing not to make even a brief detour to California felt like more than a scheduling conflict. It felt like a statement. So what's really going on? To understand this moment, you have to go back, not years, but just a few months. Harry and Meghan had recently completed what many described as a quasi-royal tour of Australia. They attended philanthropic events, met with survivors of the Bondi Beach attack, walked red carpets, and generated exactly the kind of global headlines that a working royal would generate. The optics were unmistakable, and the palace, according to multiple sources, was not pleased. One insider described the reaction bluntly, saying the Australian trip killed any momentum toward a reunion between Harry and his father during the US visit. The palace, it was claimed, saw the optics and pulled back fast. There's a frustration at Buckingham Palace that runs deeper than people might realise, a sense that Harry and Meghan want the prestige and the reach of the royal brand without the accountability that comes with it. Every time they step onto a stage that looks even slightly royal, it reopens wounds that the institution is desperately trying to close. And then there's the political dimension, which nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking about. Trump has been vocal, very vocal, about his feelings towards Harry and Meghan. He called Meghan terrible. He called Harry whipped. He praised William as wonderful. The last thing Charles needed, walking into a delicate diplomatic dance with the American president, was for the headlines to pivot from Anglo-American alliances to the Sussex family drama. Royal commentators were candid about this. One noted that if Charles had met with Harry, it would have immediately become the story, overshadowing everything the visit was meant to achieve. The focus, as one expert put it, had to stay on the principles. And so Harry was left out. Not cruelly, perhaps not even personally, but left out nonetheless. Now, what makes this so complicated is that Harry, in recent months, has expressed genuine desire for reconciliation. After losing his long and bitter legal battle over security arrangements in the UK, he sat down for a BBC interview and said something that stopped a lot of people in their tracks. He said he had forgiven his family. He said life is precious. He acknowledged that he didn't know how much longer his father had, and he said, quietly, almost vulnerably, that he would love reconciliation, that there was no point in continuing to fight. Those are not the words of a man who wants war. Those are the words of a son who misses his father. And yet, here we are. The last time the two men actually met face to face was September of last year, when Harry made a trip to the UK and sat down with Charles at Clarence House for a private tea. 50 minutes, reportedly. That was it. 50 minutes in 19 months, for a father and a son, and even that meeting was kept so quiet, so controlled, that the world almost didn't know it happened. There is, of course, another person in this equation, and that's Meghan, because while Harry has been signalling openness to some kind of return, even a limited, part-time role within the royal orbit, Meghan is reportedly not on the same page, not even close. Reports from sources close to the couple describe them being, in their words, as very much at odds over this question. Harry is said to believe that King Charles could still be persuaded to agree to some form of limited duties, that the door isn't fully closed. He reportedly envisions himself and Meghan as a united front, working alongside the family on a reduced basis. He has even spoken about wanting to bring Archie and Lilibet to the UK to spend time with their grandfather. But Meghan has built something in America, a lifestyle brand, a Netflix deal, a vision of independence and reinvention that doesn't have a throne room in it. She has, according to those same sources, created a new blueprint, one that is entirely her own, and moving back to Britain, even partially, is described as a massive break deal. She is not willing to dismantle what she has built to re-enter an institution that she has spoken openly about finding harmful to her mental health. And that tension between Harry's nostalgia for belonging and Meghan's determination to move forward is arguably the most human part of this entire saga. These are two people who made a seismic decision together in 2020, who walked away from one of the most powerful institutions on Earth, and who are now, 6 years later, grappling with what that decision actually means for each of them individually. It turns out walking away together doesn't always mean arriving at the same place. Meanwhile, there is a shadow over all of this that nobody wants to fully confront, and that is Charles's health. The king is battling cancer. He has continued his duties with remarkable resilience and commitment, but those who have watched him closely say he has visibly aged. The treatments are clearly taking their toll, and while the palace has been careful not to make his illness a source of public drama, the clock is ticking, and everyone knows it.